Yes, Pastor. I'm just trying to share the screen. I'm just trying to share my screen. Can you see my screen now? Good. No problem. I'll try and fix this now. Now? Are you getting it now? Sorry. Oh, now? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Sure, okay. So, okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Warren Sarao, and I'm my study is about has secularism led to the decline of Christianity in the UK? A study in religious change and the growth of Islam. So I live in the UK, but not at the moment. So, but this is a study that this question has been in my mind for a very long time, because I've seen living in the UK, in some ways Christianity decline, but I've seen Islam rise, and it's more to do with what we see around us. So I've seen, like, for example, a lot of mosques coming all over the place, and even politics, even the politicians pandering to Muslims in many ways. So but I wanted to look into it in a more academic way to see whether this is really the case. So for this, what I've done is I've done a study. My research is based on secondary data. It's a qualitative research. I've used mostly peer-reviewed academic journals, because they're the most credible, and also some official websites to get some statistical data. So, the introduction. So Britain was historically a Christian majority society. Christianity arrived a few centuries after the death of Jesus and was responsible for shaping this culture and politics and identity of the UK. So just to know that it's important to distinguish between Britain and United Kingdom, because Britain was earlier, this was the pre-empire, the British Empire term that we use, which was mainly England. And then after that, of course, because of the various acts that followed, England united with Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland, and it became United Kingdom. But in this study, we are starting off with Britain, but we're also using United Kingdom because this is what it is in the modern day. So Britain played a very important role in developing Christianity, especially Protestantism. And we can see that the monarch, the king or the queen of England, is known as the defender of the faith. And this was a title that was given to them by the Pope at the time. Since the mid-20th century, church attendance and Christian identification have declined, and the 1960s especially marked a turning point in this due to social changes. For example, there were more women entered higher education and workforce, and this challenged the traditional family and religious expectations. Then the decline of family structures, so rising divorce rates and changing attitudes to marriage also weakened the church-centered family life. So basically, that's why I'm looking into whether what are the factors that have actually led to the decline, and if there is whether or not there's a decline in Christianity in the UK. So the historically, okay, this is the historical establishment. So before Christianity, Britain was a pagan country with many gods linked to nature and local life, and beliefs varied by region and were practiced at natural sacred sites. Then gradually, Christianity came between the 1st and the 4th centuries into the UK, but pagan traditions continued alongside Christianity, and this was because actually the Romans came and brought in Christianity to the UK, but there were also signs of some other followers of Christ who came to the UK at that time. So yes, introduced the arrival of Christianity in the 1st and 4th centuries. In the 16th century, under the Henry VIII, the Church of England was created, and this was, of course, because of his he broke away from the Catholic Church and formed the Church of England. And under the Church of England, the Christian Church became a powerful authority in the UK. In the 16th and 17th centuries, there was religious conflict. There was a sect called the Puritans, led by Oliver Cromwell, who wanted to purify the church and get rid of all the traditions, especially the Roman Catholic practices. Then we have restoration. So in 1660 onwards, the monarchy was sort of replayed. They came back again, and the Church of England was restored, but with limited royal control over religion. Then we see in the 18th and 19th centuries, we had the British Empire spread Christianity globally. Missionary work was inspired by the Great Commission, which is in Matthew 28, 19 and 20, which encouraged the evangelization of all nations. So Matthew 28, 19 says, "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Holy Spirit." So this was, many of the missionaries at the time took this as their mission to spread Christianity. And even though some of the missionaries were not really, most of the missionaries were not really wanted to be a part of the colonization process, they found it an excellent way to spread Christianity through this colonization process. So there was a missionary expansion. Strong religious belief and revival culture drove global missions, especially in colonies like India, linking Christianity and in imperial expansion. Then we see in England also, in Britain, the Christian revivals. There were many Christian revivals. So we have the evangelical revival, the Scottish revival, Cambuslang revival, and the most famous, latest one was the Welsh revival in 1904 and 1905. So Christianity developed from a minority belief into a dominant religion during that time. Next, we see immigration in Islam and religious pluralism. So the earliest Muslim presence began with the sailors from India. And over time, it increased with, for example, there was a large-scale migration due to labor shortages after the World War II. And of course, further increased after the partition of India. There was lots of displacement. So a lot of people moved, sought asylum and moved to the UK. And then there was also a later migration waves from East Africa and Balkans and the Middle East. So basically, during this time, there was a growth of Islam. This mainly was through migration, and those people who were already in the UK They brought their families over, and of course there was higher birth rates, and there were strong communities formed in areas. So basically, they would live in certain areas and wouldn't integrate with the rest of the population. Then we saw there was also, because Islam was growing, we saw there was a shift from mosques, from praying in the house, to mosques being built. And then, yes, of course, and there was a global influence as well. There are countries like Saudi Arabia who fund all these mosques and madrasas in the UK at that time, because they were not getting funding from the government for this. And the Muslim population grew from 50,000 in 61 to 3.8 million in 2021, which is 6.5% of the UK population. There were other religions as well that came into the UK. Judaism, which was the earliest religion to come to the UK. Then there was Hinduism and Sikhism, and also Buddhism. Okay, now moving swiftly into secularism. So secularism, the belief of that religion should be separate from the state, and secularization, where it is a process of becoming less religion becoming less important in society. So this had an impact in the UK. People started becoming, because of secularization, a lot of Christians started losing, just voluntarily sort of becoming more secular, less attendance to church, less connecting with religion, less connecting with the church and religious Christian religious practices. But then we saw there was modernization, scientific thinking, and whereas Islam at the same time remained strong in daily life and identity. And it saw higher participation and growth. And a lot of the Muslim youth found that it was, difficult for them to adopt to the modern practices in the life in the UK, and so they stuck to their religion and their tradition. Basically, yeah. Sure, no problem. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, basically, I mean, the church, especially here talking about the church here, the main force was the Church of England. Can you hear me now? No, so basically, so here, when you're talking about the church here, the most dominant church here is the Church of England, and they have remained passive actually. So they have tried to be swayed by whatever the political agenda is. In the sense, there was no major force. For example, even now, the Church of England has got a woman bishop, Archbishop of Canterbury, and they were, though there has been um, conflict in the church, whether to address the issues like same-sex marriages and stuff like that. There was a big uh, there was quite a big amount of people within the hierarchy in the church who wanted to promote that. So it shows that there's no strict biblical foundation in the church, and so they, in a way, they have been responsible for secularizing, going with what the society demands, basically. Yes. 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 So you're absolutely right. The first thing is, yes, there is this refers only to the main church, mainly the Church of England and probably the Catholic Church as well. But as I have been part of a Pentecostal church, it's different. The Pentecostal and the evangelical churches are seeing an influx of new young people into Christianity. But unfortunately, I don't have any data to support that. But as a personal experience from talking to church elders and pastors, that is, they would disagree with some of the data that I found, because according to them, the churches are filling up with new people, especially. And one of the things, Pastor, is because of this current situation where because of situation in Gaza, and of course there's a big immigration problem in the UK. A wave of Islam immigrants from Islamic countries coming in. It has either given rise to right-wing Christianity, as we have seen in the UK, in the US. Unfortunately, even that I don't have proper data to actually include it in the study, but this is what we are seeing. Yeah. Sure, sure. I mean, I almost finished the end of it. The main conclusion was that, yeah, secularism actually, secularization has played a main part. Christianity is shown on the decline in the sense that it is uh, basically just because of how the world is and people are adopting. There's more exposure to secular lifestyles that is giving the thing. But I think the recommendation would be, unfortunately, if we had a stronger uh, government that would promote Christian values. I think that is one thing, but it's a very big ask. And also, but I think regionally, the churches are doing a lot to counter, uh, in a way, I would say, Islam, because the town where I was living in, it's become, I think, about 45% Muslim, and our churches there are really struggling to uh, push back on them taking over and imposing Islam on the whole town, basically. So I think, yes, I think, Pastor, I think it's to do with the church elders need to do a lot more to bring about what real Christianity is.